This is a tutorial that I've been requested a few times. What we're going to do is use Canva to create some really nice looking gift vouchers. The reason for this is with Squarespace, my chosen website builder platform, this feature is quite limiting. You get an email and you can have your logo in there, but to be honest, it's a stripped back, very simple template. So let's search for some Canva templates to get ourselves started. So maybe gift certificate, by the looks of it, is what we'll go for. Just a starting point, this is a tutorial showing what you can do in Canva, not a tutorial covering the very basics. We've created a YouTube channel where we go into a lot more detail in terms of what each of these tools are and what they do. And we're going to add tutorials one at a time over the coming months. Also, if you head over to Pixelhaze.academy, you can sign up for our free membership, and that'll be the best way to get all of these tutorials and info going forward. Let's choose this one here. Okay. So we've got a template. Sometimes I don't bother even start with a template, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this on brand. Now this is based on the fact of you having Canva Pro, which allows you to build your own brand toolkit. You can choose your colors and your starting templates and upload your logos and fonts if you have custom fonts in Canva. Or if you're using fonts that are in Canva, you can choose those and add them as shortcuts here so we can add them really quickly. You can also go through things like brand voice, upload your own photos, graphics and icons, which I really need to do once I get myself organized. But for now, let's go to the design tab, top left-hand corner. We've already chose a template. So we jump back out and we can go to styles. Now, if we've done all of this setup for our template, we can now choose our color styles from here. So let's choose our colors from Pixelhaze. Or we can choose a primary color palette and go with this option here, which looks quite nice. What we can also do is choose one click with brand fonts, and then it will change all of the fonts for us as well. So the way this design is being composed is we've got a photo in the background that fills the entire canvas, and we can see it's going from the top right-hand corner here to the left-hand corner, and then behind this navy shape and this yellow shape here. Also, if we highlight or click on this navy shape, we can see it's a rectangle that's been rotated. This tool here will allow you to rotate. I'll just show you an example. I'll undo it in a second. But I think that's cross-secting at 90 degrees here, meaning that we've got those at 45-degree angles. I want to keep that effect. So now with this shape selected, I can bring it down without breaking the effect, or alternatively, I can extend the width of this frame. But you probably didn't come here just to show how to use shapes in Canva. What you're after is, okay, let's create a design that can be replicated. So what I'm going to do now is add in additional information. So we're going to put the subheadings in here and an optional expiry date. In fact, I'm just going to keep it really simple and we're going to remove that out of there. Okay. So we've got one dynamic area here. I'll choose my name. I'm going to make that bigger. Now we've got that in place. So we can see here that this is from the template and we can see multiple text blocks all combined together. They've been grouped. So what we can do is ungroup them. That means we can select each text block individually and then extend the width of that text block to make use of the extra space that we've created by bringing this shape down further. I'm not happy overly with the layout and the language used on this. This is just mainly a placeholder. With that in place, we're just going to choose one more thing from our brand assets. That is our Pixelhaze Academy logo. So if we just flick back through here and select our logo, we can shrink it down. And this just ties it into the brand nicely. And I'm going to select these two areas again. And if we're happy with the spacing between them, we can group them once more. And we can use the smart guides in Canva, which are a great, relatively new feature. So we can see 0.7 above and below. We can make that a little bit closer as well. And if we want to bring this down so we give ourselves more space between the three areas, there we go. I'm being really fussy now, so I'm just selecting those elements and bringing them in. We can group this once more. So if we're happy with the layout of all of that text, we can group it, and then that means when we resize it, it will resize all the elements simultaneously. That's another handy addition. So I'm going to bring that in, give ourselves more white space, more breathing space around the frame of this design. Upload an image will do the job for this background of this template. And what I can do is select the image. I can either scale it up and move it to the back, or the easiest way is to right click on the layer and choose the replace background option. Okay, you can see here that it isn't quite fitting as I want. So a background isn't going to be the option for me. I can detach the image from the background, and instead of choosing it for background, I can bring it in here, and now I can move it to the back. So right click, layer, and then send to back. Yeah, that's a bit cheesy. But what it's also showed us is that the background, we've got the SKOOL logo in here, which we don't want. And so we're going to go for that format. I probably will never release this as a gift voucher, but that's an idea of how we can take a template and create our own designs. However, this is one of the easiest ways of creating vouchers, but it's still relatively time consuming. We still need to go to share, download. Download it as a graphic, PNG or JPEG will probably be best for this one because it's got a photo in it. And then we'd have to download that as a file, then attach it to an email and then send it manually. So what I may do in future is to go into more detail for this. But now I'm going to have a look at making this name field dynamic. That's the template sorted. And of course, that's going to look very different depending on your brand and what you're looking to achieve with it. But now we're going to try and add a dynamic element to our design. I'm going to see if I can create a CSV file. Now, a CSV file is a spreadsheet with each of the elements separated by comma. We don't need to worry about too much about how it's constructed because we can do everything from here. So I'm using Google Sheets, but you can export from Excel or any other spreadsheet software you have into CSV format. And I'm going to show you here, this is just a very quick, crude template I put together. Go to File, and we're going to download from Google Sheets. And we've got a load of different options here. We need to make sure that we're selecting CSV. That's then downloaded to our computer. So whilst that's happening, and it shouldn't be too large a file, even if you've got loads of entries, instead of uploading the spreadsheet into Canva, what we do is go to Apps, and then I'm going to search for Data, press Enter, and it's the Data Autofill option. That will make this easier. So if you're looking to do 4 or 5 in one go, this will just make the job a little bit quicker. I am hoping to come back with a tutorial in the future once I've tested it myself to see if we can make this fully automated. So when a new order comes through via email, it will auto-populate in Canva based on the email output, but I need to do a bit more work with that. So in this case, we're just going to choose a CSV or Excel. And we're going to select either of those. I tested it earlier. And now we've got the name field. Right, so now what we do is right-click on the element, and then we choose Connect Data. And we can choose name from that field. Now we choose the Continue option, and we got the option to generate 3 designs off the back of it. The beauty of this is we could have expiry dates, and then we could add those expiry dates into there as an additional field, and it's exactly the same process. So we have a get voucher expiry on the graphic itself. You don't have to do that step, but if you wanted to get more from it and more customization, again, this is relatively quick. Now we can choose to generate those 3 designs, and it's opened up in a new tab. So we've still got the old one, and it's actually created it as a new file called bulk. And there we go. So there's a couple of things to just make sure we've got that in place before we go any further. If we have text that overflows the edge, so a really long name like this, we can see that that's broken it. So before we go through those steps, maybe I should have covered it before, we're going to undo. And what we've got to do is make sure that the size is right. So maybe we go with smaller. Make sure our text block's left aligned. That's really important so that we haven't gone to centrally aligned. This is something that happens sometimes is some people will go centrally aligned and then make the text block smaller so it goes left aligned. We really don't want to do that. What we're trying to do is bring out that text block as far as it will go. Make sure the font size is small enough that there's little or no adjustment to be done, even if it's a really long name. So we have to go to that amount before it makes a difference. If we get any outliers like that, we can always adjust them down, or you can just give yourself more space to start with. Once we've got that right, that's where we would go through the data. So if you've not got it quite right, again, we would add these effects here, make that a bit smaller. That's still tied to the name field, and make this text block wider. So we've got loads of options there, and let's regenerate that. And now we know that we've got loads of space in that text container for dynamic content as and when it feeds in. If you need to create gift vouchers for 10 or 15 people at any given time, or if you are creating certificates after running courses, this is a really good way of doing it. But as I said, next up, I want to look at ways of making this automated. So when an email comes in, regardless of the email account that you use, we can use potentially something like Zapier to create a Zap that will automate the entry of a field like name option here. I'd be shocked if you can't do it. In fact, I'm pretty sure we can. I just need to spend a little bit more time exploring this feature because I want to use it for myself and for one or two of our clients. But in the meantime, hopefully that's helped you get your head around how this data management tool works within Canva. It's handy and it's scalable. It also works really well for things like testimonials, where you can batch reviews or testimonials from Google reviews into graphic structures that you can use for social media. And I'll probably create a tutorial on that in the near future. In the meantime, hope you found this helpful, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.